And that's all I can tell you, Mrs. Pearson. Could be a good fortune. Could be a bad one. All depends on yourself now. Make up your mind, and there it is.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Fitzgerald. I'm much obliged, I'm sure. It's wonderful having a real fortune teller living next door. Did you learn that out east, too?
I did. 12 years I had of it, with my old man rising to be lieutenant quartermaster. He learned a lot, and I learned a lot more. But will you make up your mind now, Mrs. Pearson dear? Put your foot down, once and for all, and be the mistress of your own house and the boss of your own family.
That's easier said than done. Besides, I'm so fond of them even if they are so thoughtless and selfish. They don't mean to be.
Maybe not. But it would be better for them if they learned to treat you properly.
Yes, I suppose it would, in a way.
No doubt about it at all. Who's the better for being spoiled? Grown man, lad or girl? Nobody. You think it does them good when you run after them all the time, take their orders as if you were the servant in the house, stay at home every night while they go out enjoying themselves? Never in all your life. It's the ruin of them as well as you. Husbands, sons, daughters should be taking notice of wives and mothers, not giving them orders and treating them like dirt. And don't tell me you don't know what I mean, for I know more than you've told me.
I keep dropping a hint.
A hint? It's more than hints your family needs, Mrs. Pearson.
I suppose it is. But I do hate any unpleasantness. And it's so hard to know where to start. I keep making up my mind to have it out with them, but somehow I don't know how to begin. Oh, good gracious. Look at the time. Nothing ready and they'll be home any minute and probably all in a hurry to go out again.
Let 'em wait or look after themselves for once. This is where your foot goes down. Start now.
Mrs. Fitzgerald, I know you mean well, in fact, I agree with you, but I just can't, and it's no use you trying to make me. If I promise you I'd really have it out with them, I know I wouldn't be able to keep my promise.
Then let me do it.
Oh no, thank you very much, Mrs. Fitzgerald, but that wouldn't do it all. It couldn't possibly be somebody else. They'd resent it at once and wouldn't listen, and really I couldn't blame them. I know I want to do it, but you see how it is.
You haven't got the idea.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you asked me to let you do it.
I did. But not as me, as you.
But, I don't understand. You couldn't them.
We change places. Or, really, bodies. You look like me. I look like you.
But that's impossible.
How do you know? Ever tried it?
No.
I have. Not for some time, but it still ought to work. Won't last long, but long enough for what we want to do. Learned it out east, of course, where they were up to all these tricks. Gimme your hands, dear.
Well, I don't know, is it right?
It's your only chance. Give me your hands and keep quiet a minute. Just don't think about anything. Now look at me.
See what I mean, dear? Here. You don't want that.
Oh, it's happened.
Of course it's happened. Very neat. Didn't know I had it in me.
But whatever shall I do, Mrs. Fitzgerald? George and the children can't see me like this.
They aren't going to. That's the point. They'll have me to deal with. Only they won't know it.
But what if we can't change back? It'd be terrible.
Here. Steady, Mrs. Pearson. If you had to live my life it wouldn't be so bad. You'd have more fun as me than you've had as you.
Yes. But I don't want to be anybody else.
Now stop worrying. It's easier changing back. I can do it any time we want.
Well, do it now.
Not likely. I've got to deal with your family first. That's the idea, isn't it? Didn't know how to begin with them, you said. Well, I'll show you.
But what am I going to do?
Go into my house for a bit, there's nobody there, then pop back and see how we're doing. You ought to enjoy it. Better get off now before one of 'em comes.
Yes, I suppose that's best. You're sure it'll be all right?
It'll be wonderful. Now off you go, dear. You'll have to iron my yellow silk. I must wear it tonight.
What do you think I'm doing? Whitewashing the ceiling?
But you were smoking.
That's right, dear. No law against it, is there?
But I thought you didn't smoke.
Then you thought wrong.
Are we having tea in the kitchen?
Have it where you like, dear.
Do you mean it isn't ready?
Yours isn't. I've had all I want. Might go out later and get a square meal at the Clarendon.
Who might?
Who might?
Mom, what's the matter with you?
Don't be silly.
It's not me that's being silly. And I must say it's a bit much when I've been working hard all day and you can't even bother to get my tea ready. Did you hear what I said about my yellow silk?
No. Don't you like it now? I never did.
Of course I like it. And I'm going to wear it tonight. So I want it ironed.
Want it ironed? What do you think it's going to do? Iron itself?
No, you're going to iron it for me. You always do.
Well, this time I don't. And don't talk rubbish to me about working hard. I've a good idea how much you do, Doris Pearson. I put in twice the hours you do, and get no wages nor thanks for it. Why are you going to wear your yellow silk? Where are you going?
Out with Charlie Spence.
Why?
Why? Why? What's the matter with you? Why shouldn't I go out with Charlie Spence if he asks me and I want to? Any objections? Go on, you might as well tell me.
Can't you find anybody better? I wouldn't be seen dead with Charlie Spence. Buck-teeth and half-witted.
He isn't.
When I was your age I'd have found somebody better than Charlie Spence, or given myself up as a bad job.
Oh, shut up.
Hello, Mum. Tea ready?
No.
Why not?
I couldn't bother.
Feeling off color or something?
Never felt better in my life.
What's the idea then?
Just a change.
Well, snap out of it, Ma. And get cracking. Haven't too much time.
I've plenty of time.
Yes, but I haven't. Got a busy night tonight. Did you put my things out?
Can't remember. But I doubt it.
Now, look. When I asked you this morning, you promised. You said you'd have to look through 'em first in case there was any mending.
Yes, well now I've decided I don't like amending.
That's a nice way to talk. What would happen if we all talked like that?
You all do talk like that. If there is something at home you don't want to do, you don't do it. If it's something at your work, you get the union to bar it. Now all that's happened is that I've joined the movement.
I don't get this, Mum. What's going on?
Changes. You look terrible. I wouldn't wear that face even for Charlie Spence.
Oh, shut up about Charlie Spence. And anyhow I'm not ready yet, just dressing. And if I do look terrible, it's your fault, you made me cry.
Why? What did she do?
Never you mind.
Have we any stout left? I can't remember.
Bottle or two, I think. But you don't want stout now.
I do.
What for?
To drink. You clot.
Has she been like that with you, too?
Yes, no tea ready. Couldn't care less.
Well, I'm glad it's both of us. I thought I'd done something wrong.
So did I, but it's her, of course.
She was smoking and playing cards when I came in. I couldn't believe my eyes.
I asked her if she was feeling off color and she said she wasn't.
Well, she's suddenly all different. And that's what made me cry. It wasn't what she said but the way she said it, and the way she looked.
Haven't noticed that. She looks just the same to me.
She doesn't to me. Do you think she could have hit her head or something? Why no, and got, what is it? Why no?
Do you mean she's barmy?
No, you fothead. Why no, concussion. She might have.
Sounds far-fetched.
Well, she's far-fetched, if you ask me.
Now then, what is it?
If she's going to be like this when Dad comes home.
I'm staying in for that. 2 front dress circles for the first house.
You two are always talking about being grown up. Why don't you both try for once to be your age?
Can't we laugh now?
Yes,
If it's funny, go on, tell me. Make me laugh. I could do with it.
You know you never understand our jokes, Mom.
I was yawning at your jokes before you were born, Doris.
What's making you talk like this? What have we done?
Nothing but come in, ask for something, go out again, then come back when there's nowhere else to go.
Look, if you won't get tea ready, then I'll find something to eat myself.
Why not? Help yourself.
Mind you, I think it's a bit thick. I've been working all day.
Same here.
8-hour day.
Yes, 8-hour day, and don't forget it.
I've done my 8 hours.
That's different.
Of course it is.
It was. Now it isn't. 40-hour week for all now. Just watch it at the weekend when I have my 2 days off.
Must grab something to eat. Looks as if I'll need to keep my strength up.
Mummy, you don't mean you're not going to do anything on Saturday and Sunday?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I might make a bed or two and do a bit of cooking as a favor. Which means, of course, I'll have to be asked very nicely and thanked for everything and generally made a fuss of. But any of you 40-hour-a-weekers who expect to be waited on hand and foot on Saturday and Sunday, with no thanks for it, are in for a nasty disappointment. Might go off for the weekend perhaps.
Go off for the weekend?
Why not? I could do with a change. Stuck here day after day, week after week. If I don't need a change, who does?
But where would you go? Who would you go with?
That's my business. You don't ask me where you should go and who you should go with, do you?
That's different.
The only difference is that I'm a lot older and better able to look after myself, so it's you who should do the asking.
Did you fall or hit yourself with something?
No. But I'll hit you with something, girl, if you don't stop asking silly questions.
Oh, this is awful.
Stop blubbering. You are not a baby. If you were old enough to go out with Charlie Spence, you're old enough to behave properly. Now stop it.
Hello, what's this? Can't be anything to cry about.
You'll see.
Did she say you'll see?
Yes.
What did she mean?
Better ask her.
Stout?
Yes.
What are you drinking stout for?
Because I fancied some.
At this time of day?
Yes. What's wrong with it at this time of day?
Nothing, I suppose, Annie, but I've never seen you do it before.
Well, you're seeing me now.
Yes, and I don't like it. It doesn't look right. I'm surprised at you.
Well, that ought to be a nice change for you.
What do you mean?
It must be some time since you were surprised at me, George.
I don't like surprises. I'm all for a steady going on. You ought to know that by this time. By the way, I forgot to tell you this morning I wouldn't want any tea. Special snooker match night at the club tonight, and a bit of supper going. So no tea.
That's all right. There isn't any.
You mean you didn't get any ready?
Yes. And a good thing, too, as it's turned out.
That's all very well, but suppose I'd wanted some?
My goodness. Listen to the man. Annoyed because I don't get a tea for him that he doesn't even want. Ever tried that at the club?
Tried what at the club?
Going up to the bar and telling them you don't want a glass of beer, but you're annoyed because they haven't already poured it out. Try that on them and see what you get.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They'd laugh at you even more than they do now.
Laugh at me? They don't laugh at me.
Of course they do. You ought to have found that out by this time. Anybody else would have done. You're one of their standing jokes. Famous. They call you Pompey Pearson because they think you're so slow and pompous.
Never.
It's always beaten me why you should want to spend so much time at a place where they're always laughing at you behind your back and calling you names. Leaving your wife at home, night after night. Instead of going out with her, who doesn't make you look a fool.